tonight we are talking about my favorite episode of the series so far. Episode 105, Needfire, written by Taylor Mallory and directed by Amir Conroy. I'm Courtney Williams, creator and producer of Outlander Behind the Scenes. And tonight we're going to watch my hair dry, also while we discuss. Um,
Okay.
I'm drinking boring old water, which is over there. You don't need to see it. And was running late today, so you got me like right out of the shower. Um, so my overall impression, I loved this episode. I was pulled in and I was riding the ride for the entire time the first time I watched it. And then I went back to watch it for a second time to, prepare for this. And I didn't get anything done. I just got pulled in and watched all over again. And then I was like, okay, wait, I have to like take notes and do all that stuff. Um, so safe to say, I really love this episode. And I'll talk about more details about why when we get into that.
Well, my name is Carmen Schmidt, and I write my Outlander Anatomy blog based on the science and anatomy in the episodes and in the books of both series, actually, the episodes of both series and the books. I am drinking ice water tonight with a little bit of lime in it. And my overall impression of this episode 105 Need Fire was that it was very good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good TV.
All right. I am Catherine Toomer, family medicine, and came to Outlander BTS through by way of Blacklanders. Um, Big show enthusiast. Don't remember the books well, but devoured them, but just don't remember them well. So I really enjoy the shows because I can't compare them. This particular Blood of My Blood, I'm actually enjoying it far more than I ever expected. Um, I'm actually enjoying it more than some of the other seasons of Outlander. This particular episode is probably one of the few that I'll actually watch twice because and not just because I was sleepy the first time watching it, but because it was actually good. I liked it. Oh, and my drink I had was I had a shot of tequila right before I came on, and I have some little leftover Diet Coke that I'll probably sip off of from time to time.
Okay. that's that's my fake smile. Ah, I'm Antoinette, and by profession, I'm a prosecutor. And I stumbled onto Outlander years ago in season 2, and fortune put me in touch with these wonderful ladies who have now become an integral part of my life. And I will always be grateful to Outlander for that. Now, on to this episode of Blood of My Blood. Um, it didn't do anything for me. I can't say I didn't like it, but I can't say I liked it either. For me, it was just, meh.
Okay. I'm waiting for one of you doctors to prescribe some hormones. I'm kidding.
Hormone therapy. I can't
For
prescribe,
Antoinette,
Yeah,
unfortunately. I don't have a
testosterone
license
or
to do
something.
that.
Yeah, I'm joking. Okay. All right. Let's kick it off with favorite scene.
I actually liked Brian and Ellen's love scene. I thought they had good chemistry together, which I really didn't see before that. But in this um, sequence, I thought it came out. I liked the hand fasting part of it. I thought that they were passionate with each other. I thought they looked good together. Um, they they took their time, which I liked about this scene. It wasn't rushed. It was slow, even though well, I'll say something about that later. But I'm glad that they were able to creep away from all of the other creeps and be able to spend some time together. We've been waiting for that. So yeah, that would be my favorite scene from this episode.
My I enjoyed that scene when they were together, but it was not so much the love scene, but the parts before it. And um and the parts leading up to how they got there. Um the looks between one another. So it was kind of, it's not no one scene, it was just sort of a combination of the build up to that and the way they kept looking at one another, but in a way so that if anyone kind of looked at them both would kind of know something was going on, but if you look at one or the other you probably may not. So I thought it was I didn't have one favorite scene, but a favorite scenes, I guess is the best way of putting it.
Okay. Well, I loved the lovemaking scene and I liked all the scenes leading up to the lovemaking scene. And I thought the scene, my favorite scene, and I am like a little gushy, whatever, teenager. um, when they're on the dance floor and the hand goes on her waist and she puts her hands there and he walks around and the way that's shot and then she sees it's him, that I was like, that is so romantic. And I loved that. I loved how they did that. The choreography, the camera work, the acting, I just thought that was brilliant. Antoinette.
My favorite scene was the scene between Jocasta and Myrta. I do love the actress that is playing Jocasta, and her yearning for Myrta was so palpable in that scene that I really felt for her because she is there with her whole heart out and he's completely oblivious because he is so taken up with Ellen. So that was my favorite scene because I love those two together. I'm actually interested in them.
You're talking about the one in the tent. The tent?
Yes, the one in the tent, yeah.
Okay.
And then when he says, when he pulls her with him and say, okay, pretend you're not a maid and, let's dance. I like that. I really
Yeah.
did.
Well, my next favorite was I really enjoyed the scene with Masri prophesying in the Castle Leathers. I thought that was unique and well done and a surprise that they resurrected her and brought her back. Well, younger in her life, earlier in her life, I should say. But that they brought her back into the world of Outlander in this manner. And I thought it was very clever. I like the idea of the the seer bowl and the double yolk egg that Julia cracked into it. I thought it was really well done. I thought the actress who I think she's Irish, maybe, who was Masri, I thought she did a good job. It was believable that she could be the forerunner of the Masri that we see later in season 2 of Outlander.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd call it a favorite scene, but I just felt it was very well acted and I just felt it. Was when they were trying to leave, when Julia and Brian were trying to leave and his mother stops them and her pain was palpable. It was just, I felt so bad for her. And is also his reaction to finding out she was pregnant with his sibling. And um he wasn't harsh, but he was clearly very much annoyed. And I just thought the acting in that whole scene was just done so well.
I thought there were a lot of really good scenes in this episode. And
I agree.
um, my second favorite was the hand fasting. I thought that whole thing was beautifully done, especially that little part where they tie the, stops, and it's so Jamie like to be like, wait, no, I don't want to do this, and then how she takes it and then wraps it around. It just, that whole scene was very beautifully choreographed in my opinion. And I also liked the mazery. um yeah, I thought that was super well done, and that could have been very cringy. It had the makings to be very cringy, but I didn't find it that way. So I'll choose for my second favorite, the scene between Jocasta and Ellen in the carriage.
Mhm.
um their banter, I mean, throughout the episode was excellent. I really enjoyed that. It was very believable as sisters, and yeah, the actress who played Jocasta really leapt out at me in this episode.
You reminded me of her when you first came on with your dark hair tonight.
Mhm.
Well, cheeks and dark hair and blue eyes, yep, and breasts. We got that in common.
Breastises.
Breastises.
I actually like the opening sequence when they were dressing her, because they were so clever with it, because I thought, oh shite, she's getting married. This is the wedding. She's getting prepared for her wedding. And then later when we come to find out what it was, I'm saying, oh, you bastards, you had me. Because I'm saying, how is she gonna get out of this? I was, how is she gonna get out of this? So I really did like that opening sequence. And I loved the dress. The costume designers are killing it.
Mm.
So yeah, that was my other favorite scene.
All right, let's go on to what worked. Carmen.
I will reiterate just briefly, what Antoinette said. I thought the Ellen's Beltane queen dress was just stunning, and her headdress with all of the symbols, of a fruitful existence on this earth, where it was just marvelous. It was just really well done. It was a beautiful dress. It fit her like a glove. She has a lovely figure, and it was beautifully. I thought the veil, just being a simple drape, over that, to just, it was just stunning. So I thought that really worked well. I thought the scene where she chooses the king and she goes along, and looks at each one. It was very clear, of course, we knew she wanted to choose Brian, but he, warned her with his eyes and a slight thing of his head, don't do that. And she picked up on it, and then it chose Malcolm. Otherwise, if she hadn't, all hell would have broken loose. It would have been a real disaster. So she did the right thing, even though I know that's not what she wanted to do. So I thought that really worked. Um, that bit of the play. I also thought Henry's news to Ned, that questioning Ellen's reputation, that would be something that Lord Lovett would do, because he's a despicable person. And and I thought that was really a good twist. He brought that up in the last episode, and now he has obviously acted on it and sent his bladier to convey that to Ned. And
What worked for me was the pace, definitely the dialogue, the little subtleties throughout that were they one of the things that I find that they haven't done with this is they're not insulting our intelligence by having to explain out every little detail and what they mean. And I like the fact that they allow us to see things and not have to have it explained. And so I like that in this episode. Even with the seer, it would have been very easy for them to have a secondary scene where somebody else was explaining what it probably meant. And they didn't do all that. And they've done it in the past. And so I was really glad that they didn't do that this time.
I'm gonna just say the relationships. Antoinette that's one of the things you always talk about is how Outlander is about relationships. And I really felt like that was on display in this episode. You know, it's Brian and Murta, Brian and Ellen, Murta and Jocasta, Jocasta and Ellen, um, Brian and Julia, Ned and Henry, just all I really enjoyed the relationships. And, we've been around these characters long enough to kind of know who they are. And I just felt like it was like really delightful to just watch them interact. Ugh. Murta's expression when when he found them kissing, I mean, he looked like one of those, like, what's that show with Antonio Banderas with the cat that's got the big sad eyes?
Oh,
Puss
Puss
in
in
Puss
Boots,
in
Boots.
Boots.
Shrek and Shrek.
No, Puss in Boots.
It's a
Puss in
spin-off from
Boots.
Shrek, but
Yeah.
it's this cat looks at people with these big sad eyes, and it's like his superpower, and then he attacks them. But those eyes and his expression and the way he showed up in that scene was heartbreaking. I mean, it was so believable that he literally was just, his heart was just broken in that moment. I thought that was really well done. The acting and the whole thing. Tony Curran, I think it is, as Lord
Right.
Lovett. He when she starts talking about like it's somebody important, his eyes are shifting around like I mean, he's so good in that role and he's almost salivating. And so he really worked for me in that scene.
I would say the acting. I think that is what is keeping this show going. The acting has been really, really great. I love the actress that's playing Jocasta. I love Murta's, the actor that does Murta. And for the most part, even the actress that plays Brian Fraser's mother, I think that she is just so awful, but in a non-awful way. So I think she's nailing it because she's an awful person. I don't like how she treats Julia, but I think I understand now why she's like that. You see. So yeah. So the acting worked for me, and also I love again how they are using Scotland as yeah as the scenery, the scenery, the pacing, and also I think the costume department, as I said, is really killing it. Not just with Helen's dress, but the villagers, the men, the people at the Beltane celebration. Nobody looked too clean. It felt authentic. So I think the costume people are really doing a great job.
Yeah, I thought Simon, what really worked was Simon's threat to Mistress Porter. That was so chilling. And it was, when you watched him being so thrilled about the idea that he was going to have a son that could carry on his legacy, it was easy to slip into, oh well, he's the joy that he showed, and everything. And this just reminded us of what a crusty old bastard that he really is. I mean, here's the mother of his son, and he's telling her that if she ever speaks of this again, that the next thing she's going to see is Bollock's knife going across her throat.
Yeah.
I mean, that is pretty
Awful.
intimidating, and she has no more recourse, maybe even less than Julia does now, because Julia, she has to take care of Julia's chamber pot now, for instance, and things like that. So, she's now dropped to the bottom of the totem pole, and I just thought that was frightening and a very good reminder of who this man is. and that we should keep our eye on him because he's not to be trusted.
Yep.
For sure.
Well, I had Murtaugh's soulful eyes down too. But one other thing, and that is that I was so surprised when they were talking to each other, Brian and Ellen, and getting to know each other. He told her that he left and went on a pilgrimage to El Camino Santiago to find himself and find out why God would create a bastard from such an awful man. I thought that was really interesting. And the other reason is because my granddaughter did it 3 years ago. She went on it with a friend, a school group, and she walked the entire thing. So it meant something special to me. And I was just surprised that it appeared in there. I thought somebody else has walked this and that has done the writing or knows about it, that they would put that in there. I thought it was a brilliant idea. Because it does evoke, it is so slow, and there are these stops along the way where people rest and they have different saints, and things like that. I can see where it would be very reflective of a person and their journey in life, as their, what is their purpose and why are we here? And so I thought it was a good twist.
What worked for me were the musicians. They finally had them actually playing. They were like real musicians.
Yeah.
But can I just say, when I saw that scene, I was like, I wonder if this is going to be Catherine's favorite scene. I wonder if they're really playing.
They are. The violinist was really playing. Now, later on, the editing didn't have the sound match the actions, but when she first started playing, it was absolutely accurate. They were all holding their bows correctly. They were moving correctly, and her fingering was correct. She was actually playing when the music matched her fingering. Let me put it that way. It was accurate, and I was very happy for that, because that irks me to no end when I see them faking playing like they did at the wedding scene in Outlander. God, it was so and
You mean
the thing is, you have
in the
people
wedding
clearly,
scene?
and it's so
Was it?
easy to find musicians because there's so many people who grew up at least playing a little bit, enough so they could hold the bow and the instrument correctly. So there's no reason to use fakes.
Was it Roger and Bree's wedding scene? Were they?
It was somebody's wedding. I don't know. There was one
No,
that was at
Roger and
it was
Breeze.
I know it was at River Run.
Yeah, it was Roger and Breeze.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
Roger
so
and
they
Bree.
were bad.
The fake
and then
fiddling.
there was one in Outlander where they were accurate, but I can't remember which scene it was.
I remember it was in episode 501 because it made me laugh so hard that your favorite scene was the musicians out of the entire episode. That was.
Well, I mean, when you play an instrument, it's like, just like you notice riders, like how
Right.
people ride and you notice the horses, I notice
Yes.
musicians
Yeah.
for the same reason.
And speaking of which, good segue. That riding when Brian and Murtaugh were riding,
I
was
thought
like,
about you when I saw them riding. I was like, I wonder what Courtney's going to say about their riding.
they were
Because I noticed they weren't
good.
pushing along with their hips.
No, they
I was
were.
like,
Those people ride. I doubt it was them, but I enjoyed that ride across the countryside. At a gallop. Love it. Once again, Murtaugh's expression when she's picking her king, he was so earnest. He was like, there wasn't any kind of like, oh. It was just very believable for how he feels about her. He's such a good actor. He's a good face actor. I haven't seen as much eyebrow action as we see in the later Murtaugh, but Julia's cringe factor when Lord Levitt kept touching her stomach and just the whole thing, she just looked like she was going to throw up during the reading. Progressively it got worse. I thought that was very believable. I noticed when they were having their post-coital chat, and Kathy, you've mentioned this a lot, you really could think those were Sam Hewen's parents. If you look at all of the forehead and the blue eyes within, she even has like the big pupils and the red coloring and all that stuff. You know, they seem like Jamie's parents. The scene when Ellen and Malcolm are walking down to the Beltane arch, and Myrta is watching Ellen, and Jocasta is watching Myrta, and the looks on their faces, and then Brian steps up, and then Myrta sees Brian watching Ellen. I thought that was really well done. That really worked for me. And the when she, you know, gets the veil off and he's bowing to her and she's just looking for Brian, and then all of a sudden he kisses her. Um, I loved this episode. Any more that worked for you, Antoinette?
Well, I mean, just overall, generally, I thought the production values were really excellent. You know, with the costuming, the the music, because
Mm.
sometimes in Outlander, I felt that almost like the music was sort of overpowering because it spoke so much and it, you know, and it created so, it was so evocative. Sometimes it sort of, you know, overpowered, but I find that this it's more in the background and I like that. Um, I mean, it's good TV. You know, it is good TV. It's just that.
Okay, well, I'm excited to hear
Mhm.
your least favorite scenes and what didn't work for you.
Okay, my least favorite scene would have had to have been the scene with Brian and Ellen.
Which one? Which scene?
The one with them after the hand fasting. I
The
don't
sex
know.
scene?
Mm-hmm. I don't see the chemistry. I don't see. They're beautiful people, beautiful to look at. They look really well sculpted naked, which is always good if you're going to do those kinds of scenes. And so stepping back, I could see that aesthetically, it looked good. It looked well choreographed. It looked believable. But I don't see the chemistry. I haven't from the beginning, and I still don't see it. You know, I'm thinking that maybe I was spoiled because the chemistry between Sam and Kat is electric. It's palpable. This lot, yeah. So that was my least favorite scene because while it was a good scene, it left me cold because I didn't see the chemistry.
Gasp. Can I just say that I took a bath tonight and I rewatched that
Mhm.
just for the sake of preparing.
Mhm.
And I was like, what is Antoinette talking about? I saw it once again on my
Mhm.
fourth time to watch it.
Mhm.
I think. Anyway,
I actually thought it was well done and well choreographed, and my thought was that intimacy coach was doing her job that time.
and you felt the
I
chemistry
I did,
between.
and I thought the looks on Ellen's face, you know, throughout it were just very expressive and very believable to me. I felt like she was a maid, you know, and this was her first time, and her response to the man that she would choose above all others was, to me, believable. I was delighted with their performance. I did not care for what's going on between Myrta and Jocasta. Sorry, Antoinette. I didn't like it in Outlander, and I don't like it here. And it's, to me, it feels like filler. um, the way she hopped on him, literally. I mean, she, when he gave her some attention, she was just all over him. Uh, I understand that she's, frustrated in her marriage, but I just, I don't know. I think that's a storyline that is going to go nowhere. We just have to put it aside in this series and, wait for uh, later in Outlander for people to see that. But that didn't work for me.
The least favorite scene for me was, again, it was a series of scenes, and it wasn't so much, it was the way I felt that even though she had a good reason, Ellen was giving not Cameron, Grant,
Okay.
Malcolm
Grant, how she was giving him the impression that he meant something to her. And it's just in watching it, I just felt so bad for him because he's just going to be broken. And it was clear that he just truly, truly, truly cares about her. And he's kind. He seems like he's a kind person and he cares about her, and he's not trying to make her something she isn't. He's not trying to mold her into something that he, of any expectations. And so every time they have the scenes where they're interacting, and I know she's doing it to protect Brian and to protect herself and to protect her family, but I just feel so bad for him. So those are my least favorite because I just hate to watch him knowing what's coming for him.
Can I just say that I felt like that she was genuinely, she's not in love with him, but she's genuinely surprised at how sweet
Gentle
he is and gentle and
gentlemanly.
yeah, and well-meaning, and the fact that he's had a crush on her since they were children and made that little heart for her. I felt like she was genuinely touched by that. And she may not be aware that she's gonna crush his soul because she's young, and but she will. You're right. um I didn't have a least favorite scene, but if pressed, I would say Ned and Henry by the Stones. I didn't really care about Ned's lost love, or that part was like least compelling for me.
Why would another bastard child be worthy of Lovett's legacy? He's already got a bastard son. Why would why would this one be worthy of his legacy? I don't really get that. Pardon?
Because the seer said that it was going to be, I guess, based on the prediction was the child was going to be a leader of some kind and ruler. And so, because apparently she did the same reading for when his mother, when Brian's mother was pregnant with him. So apparently whatever reading he got, it wasn't
the same as this one.
Yeah, it doesn't, maybe the bastard part isn't a big deal to him. It's more the how are you going to make me look?
Or the prophecy part.
Yeah. Okay. It's a good point.
The other thing that didn't work for me is how reckless they seemed. I mean, the fact that they were out in the open kissing so that Myrta could see them, it could have been anybody.
Yeah.
They weren't even trying to hide. And it just seemed like wherever they went, it would have been, if you're looking for someone, it just seemed like that would have been a logical place to look for them.
And her hair, I mean, it's
no,
right away.
And all the debris all over her clothes and all this stuff. It's like she was rolling around in grass. So that didn't work. I mean, that,
Yeah. That's fair.
I had that down too, that how likely would it be that they would remain unseen and unlooked for that long?
Especially as and when they're
when she's the
queen, right?
Yes,
exactly. Well, This is something I noticed that didn't quite work, that Brian's chest hair is shaved. It worked. It worked. But I doubt they did that in the 1700s. Yeah, so it worked. That's what I said. It's not very period correct, but it worked for me.
What is up with I don't understand why Archibald decided to pick out Murta and beat him to a pulp.
He
Where did
bumped
that
into him.
come from?
He
Hmm?
bumped him, and
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
No, I
I
think
don't
it
know if
came
they're trying to
from.
make Archibald
oh,
this
oh
tough
no,
guy.
Yeah, right.
I don't know,
no,
but
it was because he said, "You looked at, you dared to challenge my lord, basically, as king, to join the lineup. Don't you
And
do that again."
and they're
That's
they're secretly looking for who she may have had some sort of, inappropriate thing with.
right.
okay.
So I think when
Mm,
he stepped up, then they showed Archbug go, maybe it's this guy. And
okay.
then I think, and then he got drunk afterward, and then
Mhm.
he's saying he doesn't deserve her. And so, I think he's drawing conclusions that this may be the guy that she's been messing around with.
Oh, maybe
Mm.
maybe I did maybe it didn't work for me because I like the Murta character and I was very upset that this Archibald person who anyway beat him to a pulp. So yeah, I hope something bad happens to him in the next episode. Leave my Murta alone.
It will in 2015, in 1715, which is coming up.
Ooh,
Oh,
yes, very good.
yes.
Is that the one
Wonderful
who
to see
loses
that.
an arm?
So Karma was a bitch even
Mhm.
back in 1715.
Fingers.
Fingers. He
Yeah.
loses
Okay.
I knew he
fingers.
lost something.
Yeah.
Some
But
part
does
of
he
his
have
anatomy.
missing fingers in the show? I can't remember.
They don't really, I don't remember ever really seeing his hands
Oh,
clearly in the show, but they'll do something if they don't cut off his fingers. I'm sure they'll do something because the rising of 1715 is coming up in just a couple of years. And I think that's why they put it in 1713, was because they wanted to address that. But I could be wrong.
we'll see.
Well, I thought it was unlikely that Malcolm would just walk into her tent unannounced when she was being dressed by her attendants. That didn't
Mhm.
seem quite kosher to me, but it was a minor thing. I was just surprised by it. I would have thought he would have called out or asked permission or something rather than just waltz in there. She could have been undressed, for all he knew. So
Mhm.
So, at the risk of, do you guys remember when Katrina called the fans horny grannies?
you're
I,
not a granny.
I know I'm not a granny, so you can't call me that. Maybe I'm
No.
just horny. But anyway, um, I it did the first time I watched it, the fact that their kisses are all just lips, uh, definitely distracted me because I was like, that's
Mhm.
not how you would actually really be kissing. And probably, yeah, somewhat comparing it to Outlander. And I get it. And the second time I watched it, it didn't distract me at all, but it just, I don't know, it made it feel less real, more staged,
Mhm.
which it is. It's a production,
Although,
so.
when you consider that in that time, it was the equivalent maybe of like teenagers now. Like
Yeah,
your first time you kiss somebody, you're not going to know exactly what to do.
that's true.
On
Yeah.
her part, I don't know about his or his experience, but because it's not really clear what his is. But
That's true.
Yeah. And then just, well, we'll do that in medical and anatomical. Never mind. So, how did they know to bring that dress for Ellen?
Well, yeah, I mean, how'd they know she was going to be queen? I think they
That was like
assumed,
yeah.
they
Was that
assumed
like
it.
like maybe it's one of the things where all the maidens bring some fancy dress in case they win?
Could
Maybe.
be,
I don't know. Um, and
but I
what?
think it was preordained that she was going to be the queen of the event.
Because wasn't it a grant event, kind of?
No,
It
I
wasn't.
don't think so.
No, that was, he said that, didn't Ned say this is, well, he was talking about Craig Nadoon, but I think he was referring to that whole area. It was an area that didn't belong to any of the clans. Didn't he say that? Or something to that
Brian
effect?
said that to
So who was the
Julia.
Oh,
one
Brian.
who chose? Who was the one who chose if that she was the queen?
The
The
caller.
Who?
He was
well,
the
no,
caller of
he
the
asked
dances.
he asked people who, didn't he
But I
ask
mean,
the people
who
who
was
watched?
he? I just for some reason I got the impression he was from the grant people.
Oh,
Okay.
No, I think there was, you know, in like barn dances, which is I think really come from these Scottish dances.
Mm-hmm.
There's a caller who calls the dances, you know,
Mm-hmm.
mm,
and then there's the musicians, and it was the
Mm-hmm.
caller who
Who
picked her.
did it?
Because
Okay.
remember,
Yeah,
Malcolm
like the
said
do-si-do,
he's
and
the
they
one that you
sing
need
your
to
partner left to the right.
exactly.
Oh, that person. Okay.
And Grant said he's the one that you need to impress, and she said, well, maybe I should dance with him. And anyway, he's the guy who picked her. I don't know. Was he asking people? Was he
No, I
putting
just
no,
was wondering for
no,
some reason
not
I
in
got the impression.
retrospect. I was just thinking about it, but in retrospect, I think what he did is when he said, that she would be the queen, everybody cheered. And that's what I was got the two conflated, because no, I don't think he asked for a vote
okay.
or an applause. I think he chose her, like you said.
And then what were the lights in the lanterns?
Same as what they had
Candles?
before.
They didn't look very candly. I don't
No,
know. Maybe there's some
they're
halogen going
battery
on in there.
operated.
Yeah, so I noticed that and
Yeah.
you know, thought, well that and I wondered too when they're walking under that burning thing,
The
wouldn't that be
wicket.
really hot and dangerous to just walk near that? And anyway. Okay. Does anybody have anything else they want to mention that didn't work for them?
Okay. I wonder if you all noticed that we are talking about the episode. Was Julia and Henry in this episode at all? Because nobody seems to be mentioning any scenes related to them.
Well, I have
Um,
some comments coming up related to them.
okay. And so what continues not to work for me is Julia and Henry. I just don't care about them. I mean, I barely care about Brian and Ellen, to be honest. But Julia and what's his face?
Henry.
I don't give a monkeys.
Maybe Jocasta and Myrta will end up together.
Well, I mean, they're not even a couple, and they're my favorite couple. And I'm not just being contrarian when I say that, because
Yes, you are.
no, I'm not. A little bit.
Not
But
just being contrarian, a
not
little
just
bit.
being because I vibe with people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I don't get that vibe, if they don't hook me, I can't manufacture it.
Yeah.
Either it's there or it's not. If they hook me and I vibe with them, then I want to know everything. I'm waiting to see what happens. I'm hanging on every word. I want their outcomes to be fantastic, because I vibed with back in Outlander. I vibed with young Ian and Rachel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I vibe with young Ian and the first wife. What's her name?
Works with her
Emily.
hands.
Yeah. And so I cared about them. So far, the only people I really care about is Myrta and Jocasta.
Well,
And they're at the storyline that Carmi says is a filler, and she's not interested in them.
Oh,
I
love
do have
us.
to say that Henry and I hope they do something about Henry and Julia soon, because it's a real depressing part of the story, what's happening to them. And there's no forward movement or savior on the horizon, something, to give us hope for them. So I hope they change that, because it's a real downer for me. It's a sad part of the tale.
Yeah. Yeah, she just can't get out of that damn castle, can she? Okay, let's go to things that you noticed, Carmen. Just rattle off a
Bug is
bunch.
a thug.
Yep.
He was
Um,
always a thug.
yep. I noticed that isn't Brian wearing, I thought to myself, Brian's wearing the Laird's jacket, the leather jacket, but it isn't. I looked. They're very similar, but they're not quite the same. When he's older, for instance, when he goes to the fort and sees Brian goes to the fort and sees Jamie being flogged, he's wearing his Laird's jacket, but it has a broad collar. And on this jacket, he has a little mandarin collar on it. So it's not the same jacket, but it's awfully similar. It's got the buttons, and the sort of little things on the side here. I don't know what they're called, but I like that jacket really a lot. Brian's fingernails were clean this time, Dr. Kathy.
Were they? I thought they were not.
When he put his hand around her waist, they're clean.
Okay, but it
Yes,
seemed like when
I
they
thought,
were.
were they clean? They were clean. I didn't notice. I noticed they were dirty other times. I didn't notice they were clean this time.
These are really small things, but those colored
Yeah.
flags, I don't know if you saw them hanging around.
Yeah.
They reminded me of the Tibetan prayer flags a lot, the bright colors waving
Yeah.
in the breeze. I thought they were lovely, and I like that. I think Henry has a glass face like Claire. They think that's where Claire gets her face from. Everything that he's thinking shows on his face, man. Stop that. you got to quit that.
I noticed that the thigh in the love scene didn't look like the thigh in the dream sequence.
A
Oh,
thigh double.
interesting.
Her thigh or his?
Her thigh.
Maybe it was
Because
a
I
body
noticed her
double.
thigh in the dream sequence was extremely smooth and almost porcelain. And I was like, oh wow, it's like indication of someone who lived a very, very soft life, even given the time to be unmarked. And then this one, it just seemed like she had cellulite. Not that you shouldn't, because cellulite is normal, but it just didn't look like the same thigh. That's all.
Well, I mean, they do use body doubles
They do.
a lot. So we don't even know when the body doubles are being used. I think in Outlander, Sam had a butt double at one point.
Well, in this one, her thigh was showing the same time her face was.
Yeah, I was
her
going to
thigh.
say that would be hard.
But the other one may have been. I don't remember well enough to know if they showed her thigh separately from her face.
They did when he reached down between her legs. You mean when the dreams?
Yeah, so her face was not in that frame.
No, but further back you could see her whole body, the thigh and her face. I mean, they didn't pan in close right at the beginning.
And the other thing I noticed was just all the debris all over her clothes and hair. And I was just like, how are they going to get rid of that?
Well, I mean, it could be that they're doing that deliberately because we don't know, is the plan that she'll be caught out and disgraced, and that is the route of escape where she have to run off with Brian. We don't know, because it seems to be so obvious that, how will they explain that her disappearing for that long time, the debris and all of that stuff? Are they playing into Lovat's rumor mongering in terms of her reputation. Is that the device that they're going to use to give them an out to run off together? We
But
have
they
On
to
the
were,
wait and
other
see.
end, though, but didn't they say that this is sort of the event where, people sort of misbehave?
yeah. And they said, Murtaugh said, there are no vows at Beltane. Vows, he said something like vows
And
disappear or there are
and
no
didn't
vows.
Ned say this is where all your sins are washed away or something like that,
Mhm.
or forgiven
Or
or something?
Jocasta said that something
Said
about that your
her.
shins are your sins.
And
I
then
thought
it's like more than one. Didn't someone
she
say
said
something like
shins.
along the lines of more than one, maiden has done
Mm.
something they regret or shouldn't have during that.
Yeah, yeah, lost her
Yeah,
virginity.
but she's not just any maid.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
She's not just any maiden. So I don't know. I'm just speculating because I found it weird that they were so obvious out in the open kissing, disappearing for such a long
but
time.
the open kissing, I thought they were off in the forest.
When
They,
Martha
They were
saw
out in
them,
the trees. They were just standing out, and there weren't
yeah,
very many trees around them.
no,
Yeah,
That's how
yeah,
Murta was able to see them, and he was
yeah.
standing not too far away. So
exactly. So they're making it a bit too obvious. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Maybe I'm just fishing for crumbs so that I would to keep my inch going. Because I'm looking also at the devices, how
yeah,
they're going to get us from point A to point B. Because
right.
those are the things that keep me interested. If I'm not vibing with the characters, let's see how they develop the story. Let's see
Yeah,
the plot development. Let's see how they move the story along. And then maybe by the time some of those questions are answered and we see how they develop the story, then I would have developed some interest in the two main couples.
okay. I have some things I noticed and some questions. So Ned said, like, was saying, the nerve of Lord Lovett with what he's done, that he abducted a noble woman and raped her. Is that Davina?
No,
How do we know?
no. Well, I was going to bring it up behind the scenes because he
Oh,
actually did.
okay. All
He
right.
didn't.
Do you
He,
tell us? Oh, well, you can tell
yeah.
us now, or we
No,
can do it
let's
then.
wait. Let's wait.
Okay. We'll do it then. So I had a question about that.
Yeah, he did do that.
And then is the last with dark curls and clear eyes, clear blue eyes that she mentioned, is that Claire?
Sure.
I mean, I didn't,
Yeah.
I figured Julia would react to that, but she didn't.
Well, she's got herself buttoned up really tight.
And then she said two barons, one after the other. So who do we think this child of great importance is? Does anybody have
that's what I was wondering.
a theory?
I'm trying
I
to
Like,
mean,
think because it could be young. Because you remember in Outlander, there's young Simon, who is his heir, Lovett's heir. So and young Simon, you know, what about the Fraser that died, who was the general, who was a commander of men?
oh,
Wasn't he from Lovett's line? He was
I-
from Lovett's line, the body that Jamie had to take back. Colonel Fraser or General Fraser, whatever his name was. So it could be him.
yeah.
It's not Prince Charlie.
Well, somebody said this, whatever, however you say that.
Or
Saint
come
Germain.
Saint Germain.
I don't see how you would get to
I don't know.
France.
Well,
Maybe
they would have to really be clever to make
yeah.
to piece that together to make it believable.
Yeah.
Well, Masri didn't say that the son was Simon's. If you go back and I listened to that three or four times,
She didn't say it was his son.
she didn't say that he sired the son. She said
No.
it's a boy. She didn't say that it was a boy in Julia's stomach either. She said it's a boy. So we don't know whether it's Jeremy, pardon me. It could be down the line somewhere that she's referring
Jeremy?
to. She's just said that his line
Oh,
will unite the clans. And then he said, I'm to have a king. And she let him go with it. If you go back and look at it, she
yeah.
didn't say yes. She said, You're talking about the Stone of Destiny. And then he carries it, and invents the story around it. But she didn't say that.
No, and she says something like, I think the veil is thin enough today that you know what I'm gonna say. And then he's
Yes.
so excited he fills in the blank, and she's like,
Yes.
phew, like,
Yeah.
Very clever.
yeah, yeah. I
I
noticed that.
believe I believe that Masri knows that that child is not his. I
Right.
got that impression from
When she
her.
touched her stomach.
Yes,
Mm.
that she knew right then, but she didn't want to endanger anybody
Or
Yeah.
with it,
endanger
and so
herself, or endanger
and
herself.
herself. If she gave him news that was bad, he would probably killed her.
Well, he beats her if she, and she
Yeah,
did such a good job of being like the seer, but also really scared and
Mhm.
terrified.
I like
Speaking
that scene. That scene was a good scene.
Speaking of which, I noticed that when Lord Lovett put his hand on Davina's throat, didn't he have his thumb on her carotid artery?
pretty close.
Mm.
He
Where
had
he,
it. He kind of put his. No,
like,
I can't do it to myself.
if you press that, won't you make somebody pass out?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, you
it
can.
wasn't like, oh, I'm touching you. It was like a threatening,
Mhm.
just the positioning of his thumb. I
Mhm.
It was
noticed
very
that.
possessive of him. What he, authoritarian? What he did.
Yeah. I noticed all the wicker structures and wondered if that's Sam's uncle that
I
did
did too.
those because he did them in
Yeah,
Outlander. Um,
they're beautiful arches.
and I wondered if the jacket was the same one, and you cleared that up. Um, I noticed that they kept their shoes and boots on in the love scene, and I thought that was very realistic because to get all that off and then put it all back on, you don't have time for that. The light's
Exactly.
fading, man. We got to get to it.
And you might have to make a run for it.
And once again, I noticed that Brian is gorgeous.
Yes,
Okay. Oh, wait. I noticed a lot more. Does anybody else have anything?
I
Go
do.
ahead, Norman.
Okay, I was interested in what necklace Jocasta bribed Ellen for because she said your mother gave it to her. So the first thing I thought, oh, it's the one that
The
Jamie
pearl.
gives Clara, but that came from Rannoch.
Yeah, that came from
Oh,
McRannoch.
McCranach.
It didn't
Mhm.
come from her mother. So I don't know what necklace they're talking about. I thought it was interesting that they would bring this up. I hope it's not a mistake in their writing, but I did notice that, and I'm looking for what will happen about that. I got the impression from what another thing I noticed was I got the impression from what Lord Lovett said to Davina, to Mistress Porter, that he could he could care less about who sired the child as long as it preserved his legacy, because he
Mm.
says don't speak to anybody about, don't breathe a word about this to anybody else, and so I'm just thinking he might have his own doubts about it, but he's going to go with it because he's looking for this outcome that he wants. And then the last thing I noticed is that the water level in the bowl was not level. It's in a slant, her Sears bowl full
yeah.
of water. The water level is at a slant. So either the floor is slanted or
To
the
the
table
table.
is slanted. But I am sorry, I noticed things like that. And it it just struck me as a perfect, because they wouldn't be level in, those things wouldn't be level in those days. So I thought
Exactly.
that was great.
The El Camino de Santiago was said with a correct accent. So it made me think of, you know, maybe Jamie got his, you know, knack for languages from his dad. And then the Beltane masks and dancers made me think of Men in Kilts, Graham
Yeah.
and Sam.
Yeah. Yeah. Very similar.
Okay.
That whole thing.
Medical, anatomical.
I noticed that both Brian and Jamie have very long legs
Mhm.
and very similar legs, actually. I noticed that Brian had either a bruise or a supernumerary nipple just very near his right armpit. That's in the milk line. It's called the milk line, and it's a common place, but there is a discolored spot right there, or a melanated spot or something.
Mhm.
And it made me, at first I thought it was a bruise, and it could be a bruise, but you go back and look at it. I got to suss it out in some of the other pictures that we have of him where he's shirtless, but it was there. Another thing that I noticed is that I thought maybe Bug punched Murtaugh the last time in his stones, because those punches kept going lower and lower, and that one felled him. And, you know, he was curled up, and I just wonder if he didn't punch him in the nether regions. He's such a thug. He really is. I thought the orgasm was realistic for both of them this time. So I thought that that was much better than Henry and Julia's portrayal of a climax. But I thought it was pretty realistic. They do recover awfully fast. They always do, and they ought to give it just a few more seconds. That would be more realistic. I also noticed that Jocasta's breasts were almost up to her collarbones here. I mean, they were really high. And I realized it, you know, it was probably the corset that
Mhm.
that she had on, but my goodness, they were really up there.
That's what mine would be like. There would be no breasts. They would just be like things
Up
for me to
there.
rest
Well, that
my
also
chin
made me
on.
realize they're probably hers and not implants
Oh,
too.
Oh no,
totally.
that I think they were
Yeah.
hers. Yeah.
Totally.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise they wouldn't have done that.
Um, and I think that Masri's eyes, to me, revealed that she knows the child is not Simon's. I
Mhm.
thought that was really reflective of her of the emotion that she showed in her eyes, very kind of wary and knowing, but very guarded. And I just thought that was really well done, that part. So there wasn't a lot of medical things, and I'm reaching for some of these that you know, and mentioning them, but I just thought I would play with stuff. So that's
I
my
have
list.
a question. Well,
Mhm.
two questions. What would make Murtaugh bleed from his mouth?
He punched him
He
in the
punched him in the face
Oh,
one of
I
the
thought he
times.
punched
the
him in the
first time he
gut
punched
all
him
the
was in the
times.
face.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
I think he hit him 3 times in the torso.
I thought it was he was bleeding from the torso punches.
Oh, he
And I
wouldn't have
was
survived it
thinking,
if that were the case.
No, I think he hit him in the
okay.
face the first time.
Oh.
And
Okay.
then that, you know, that made Murta so dizzy and hurt that he was able to follow it up with the other blows. Murtaugh couldn't fight back. He was drunk, really drunk. So
And then, do you think it's realistic for Ellen to have an orgasm right after she just lost her virginity?
yeah,
Okay.
I didn't think she did, to be honest.
I think she did.
It didn't seem to me like she did. I obviously he did. But
It
usually they
certainly
always
is
go
possible.
overboard with, no, I said they often go overboard with them in filming, and it's just kind of makes it more realistic. But I don't think that it would have been an expectation of hers. And maybe not even of, depending on how experienced he is, maybe not even of his. I don't know, but I didn't it didn't hit me one way or the other that it was absolutely positively yes. So, I mean, I just thought it was more realistic that they didn't have them, the whole screaming, like the way they kind of go overboard and all the others that they've done before.
He
But-
did touch her
Mm,
to help
Uh,
prepare her, if you remember.
He
okay.
did, but was his
Okay.
hand?
Clean?
No.
No.
I thought his hand was really high up on her hip. I thought, Carmen, you might comment about that.
Um, it was hard to tell because there was an awful lot of fabric around down there. So, but I think it was supposed to be that he was touching her based on the expression on her face when he did. So I took it as that he was touching her in an
Okay.
intimate way.
Oh,
Yes.
to help her along. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh no, for sure. But I just didn't know if, it
Mhm.
was gonna be like a Myrtle on the right hip.
Oh,
I'm sure.
God.
I mean, when they filmed that other scene, I was like, wow, he's like right in there. The dream scene.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And this one, so maybe the body doubles like, yeah. No, I'm kidding.
Well, the body double probably would have been used in the first one, not this one, because they showed her
No,
thigh.
I know, but I'm saying maybe anyway.
But
Whatever.
what I did notice is anatomically, Brian and Sam are very, very similar.
Yes.
There's the span of their backs, the length of their legs, the roundness of their, gluteus maximus, minimus, and everything else she is.
Mediums.
all the
All the-
asses. All the
all
asses.
the answers. Very similar. Anatomically, they're very, very, very similar.
Yeah. I agree.
Even the curl of his hair is interesting. And I was wondering if that's his natural hair color or not. But it
I
looks
think
like
it
could be.
is. I think
He's
it
got
is.
his beard is so dense they would have to black, I think they would
Mhm.
have to color that too, wouldn't they, if they were gonna if he wasn't naturally that color?
Yeah, and
Mhm.
that's why they shaved his chest so that you can see his anatomy
Mm,
versus just, like a big, he's probably pretty hairy. He's Scottish.
yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Because his
Oh,
arms
see
are
that?
hairy.
Thank God they shaved him. I was traumatized enough with Mr. Hairy Back. Mr. Hairy Back sides on the
Mr.
front.
Warhol.
Orlando. No,
It was
nobody wants to
traumatic.
see
It
that.
was horrible.
Nobody wants to see that.
And the other thing is just that it's kind of hard to tell the timeline based on the pregnancy. It's like it just seems like it kind of went from barely there to suddenly it's like very obvious to not very. It's like where are we? And how long has passed?
A bump.
Yeah, that bump was
Our
kind
bump
of.
was behaving like Murta's Karen.
Yeah.
Back, forward, back.
One minute it's there, one next minute it's not there. How much older is Brian's mother supposed to be than he is?
I don't
They
think,
look very similar in
I mean,
age.
she could have been 15.
Yeah.
That's true.
Somebody brought that up that we talked about that either last time or the time before. And they were like, hey, back in that day,
Mhm.
as soon as a
Well,
girl started her period, that was
21
They're-
and she's an old maid. She's not
Yeah.
married. I'm talking about Ellen.
Yeah. Do we know her age? Is she 21?
Yeah, she's 21.
Yeah.
It was said
they
in one of
say?
the other.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were saying how
Okay.
much she's an old maid because of it. The other is I did notice that well, that was something I noticed, not necessarily anatomical, was that even Cameron, as clean as his clothes were and everything, his nails weren't. But
That's
which
good.
is unrealistic. It's not like they clean, they wash their hands very much or anything. But
Who did you
with
You mean Grant, Malcolm
Grant?
Grant, that's what I meant.
Malcolm.
But what I don't understand is how do people not get more ill? And when Jocasta mentioned her husband having
Sleeping sickness.
Sweating
Sweating
with
sickness.
sickness.
I guess people didn't realize, things are contagious. So,
Yeah.
if you're around someone who's sick, then there's likely that you can get sick from them. But I guess at that time, the people didn't understand that. But
They thought it
other
was the
than,
fairies.
Well, they
Mhm.
thought it was miasma in the air. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Blessing and cursing people.
Mhm.
Didn't know about germs.
But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of anatomical stuff other than just, weird physical bugs. Gosh, I mean, it's like he's very wiry. Just a wiry
Archbug.
dude.
Arch,
Yeah,
you mean? Yeah.
yeah.
And
He just
he really is a sourpuss, isn't he?
yeah.
I think the
He
actor
needs
who's
Merdina.
I know, I'm kind of excited for him to meet her. But who are they going to have play her? That'll be interesting. Because I think this Archbug matches much more with the book but Archbug than Hugh Ross does. He was a great guy, but um, I was in Edinburgh in 2014 or 14 or 15, and I saw a play that actually had Bill Patterson. It was what is that? Waiting for
Good dot.
uh, yes, and there was a guy in that play that I was like, that is should be the person who plays Archbug. He looked so much my idea of Archbug, and he looks like an older guy, an older version of the guy who's currently playing Archbug. I don't know. Do you guys agree with that, or are you?
But we didn't see the guy, so we don't know.
No. That this Archbug is more book bug than.
I think so.
Yeah, he just something about him. He's very.
Menacing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he seems like the bug in the book. Um, okay, let's do lawyerly.
But I didn't say anything with an illegal import.
Okay. Anybody see anything? Okay, let's do BTS. Parmy, got anything?
Well, the Fraser bloodline prophecy has come up in 4 different ways between the 2 TV series and the books and the books. In Voyager, Archibald Campbell tells Claire about the prophecy by the Branham seer. And that's the one that we're most familiar with, that a new ruler will spring from the Levitt's lineage. In Moby, Breeze finds a letter from Frank, and that tells her of a chart that shows her descent from Levitt to Bree. That might have been the one that was created by Gillis. In the Bakra, Margaret Campbell prophesies that when 1,200 moons have coursed twice between man's attack and woman's curse, and when the issue is cut down, then will a Scotsman wear a crown. And Gillis thinks that it's Bree that needs to be killed so that can come about. And then in Baum, we have Masri telling Simon that his son will be a king, or that he says his son will be a king, but that there's going to be a child that will bring the clans together. And your return to power is imminent. And what's interesting is by 1717, Simon regained his position. So it only took 3 more years from where they were for him to come back and be in good graces again and regain his title. So,
But historically, doesn't he get eventually?
beheaded.
Yeah, he's beheaded.
Yeah, but
What
not.
year is that?
That's after Culloden. So he survived another
right.
30
Wow, a long
years.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does anybody look up Needfire?
I didn't.
But who?
Needfire, what it is, what it means, the title. It is a ritual of fire that they use to ward off plague, witchcraft, or disease. So it was a cleansing that's why they had that fire going and why they celebrated. It's a fire feast, Beltane is. And so that's what the Needfire is. It's a ritual of it. What I read is it has to be a mechanically created fire. I don't know exactly what that means, but I guess it's like rubbing two sticks together. I don't know.
It can't be lightning striking a tree and then a fire breaking out. But isn't it counterintuitive to have a ritual to cleanse from witchcraft when they're celebrating Beltane and fairies and all of that stuff?
I don't think it's logical. All
that
of
don't
it, I
make
don't
no
think
sense.
it's logical. Yeah.
But is Needfire associated with Beltane normally, or is it they're two separate things?
Well, I think it's associated with all the fire feasts. There's what, 4? I think 4 fire feasts.
Maybe they call the witches to then cleanse, like.
You know, I didn't read it that deeply into it, but anyway, that was an interesting. I'd never heard the term before, and I doubted that it was real, but it's real. It's historically real.
Jocasta is played by an Irish actress named Sieve. Crap, what's her? Malin, I think is her last name. And yeah, she's great. And I couldn't really find a lot of things she's been in.
Doesn't she remind you of what's her name? Dunsany's sister?
Oh,
Doesn't
really?
she have the same look?
I think she reminds me more of
she reminds me of her for some reason. I don't know
Tanya?
if it's the shape of the face of who?
Her name is Tanya Reynolds, I think.
Who played the what's her name?
Geneva.
You mean Geneva?
Geneva.
She was William's mother.
Yeah, she looks to me a lot like Geneva's sister, the one who's playing Jocasta.
I don't see that in
No.
the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really? The one that Lord John marries? Oh, that's interesting.
I think they have the same look about them. I don't know. It's just me.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think she is excellently cast to become Maria Doyle Kennedy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, that's crazy. So, and I also looked up Davina Porter. Her name is Sarah Vickers, and she is a pretty famous British actress. And interestingly, she's been in, and you know how that is with those guys over there. She was in Bert and Dickie, which had Sam Hoare and what's that other guy's name? Matt, somebody who's the what's the show where he gets in the time machine?
Oh,
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
You know who I'm talking about? That actor who plays that.
Which one? There's been so many.
Matt, the one Matt who also played
Matt Smith, who was also in the Crown.
Yeah. So so she's been in. She played a role in that movie. So she's worked with Sam Hoare, who played Hal. And let's see, she was in Endeavor and Arcadia and The Watchmen with Jeremy Irons and Shetland.
She was in Shetland too?
She was in Shetland, and she was in Privates with Alex Vallejos and Connor McNeil, who plays Ned. So, it's funny that they've all,
A small world. It's a small talent pool. Everybody works.
She's very good in her role.
She is. And she was also in The Crown. She played a small role. I think she played the nanny to the young queen. I tried to look for it, but she's not hardly even shown. And then the guy who plays Malcolm Grant is John Ledham, and I didn't get very much information on him for some reason. But
he looks. I think I remember him. I think he had a recurring role in a show that I love called Judge John Deed. He
Okay.
looks like one of the barristers in that show. That's what he reminds me of. Judge John Deed.
Okay. Well, anyway, such a good cast.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
great ensemble.
it really is. Okay, let's do favorite lines. Carmen?
Ruin me.
See, that
Because
That
she's
was
on the
so
verge.
unexpected. I was just,
Wait.
that was just such a great line. Great position for it to be in their moment together. And I just really thought that just, I was not prepared for that. It was just pithy and, you know, how many women have put themselves in that position? Countless, I would dare say.
Actually, that was my.
Sorry,
Yeah, that was
Kathy.
a
I mean, there were
great
other
line.
exchanges that I liked, but nothing that was like no line that was, more than that one.
Yeah, that was pretty great. Oh, just the banter with Jocasta and Ellen. And she says, well, perhaps you can tell me how to keep my husband happy. And she says, well, when I was betrothed, I was not such an old maid as ye.
Wasn't there a line when between Brian and Ellen when they were talking, and she said something about she would always choose him. I choose
Yes.
you. I like that exchange. Yeah. You see, I like everything, the hand fasting bit, those exchanges. I like everything up to when they got naked.
Okay.
They really didn't get all that naked, though. I mean, they were
Well,
still,
I mean, naked
they
enough
weren't
for
as
me.
they weren't as naked as Jamie and Claire were in their
No.
wedding
No.
But
scene.
did
well.
anyone see the parallel between Brian and I forgot to mention this before, but that scene and then when Jamie and Claire the first time after their wedding with the hand in the shift.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just-
definitely. And spinning her around.
Mhm.
Brian seemed more experienced than Jamie was.
Could be.
Maybe he met somebody on the El Camino
Yeah,
route.
on his pilgrimage.
Hadn't he already been to France and back, or is that later?
Who?
Brian, is that
Did-
later?
Yeah, he had
Does he
left
go to France?
already. He had left and gone to Europe first before.
So he might have gotten schooled by somebody.
Yeah, I think so. He seemed more experienced.
You're glowing,
Oh.
Malcolm says. You're glowing. Of course, he thinks it's for him.
Yeah.
And her name, Ellen, means torch, by the way.
Oh,
Interesting.
she was glowing in those scenes.
Bright one, torch or light. So
Okay, Kathy, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here barely. The line when Jocasta says to her when they're driving along, I know that smile's not for Malcolm.
she was right.
Yeah, the sister play is good. It's really
Mhm.
good.
But y'all, I think I have to go. I can barely keep my eyes open.
I know. I'm watching you fall asleep in between. Okay, you go.
All right,
I'm
party
sorry.
girl. Go party.
Good night. Good
Stop
night.
Bye,
drinking
birthday
tequila.
girl.
All right.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
We'll
Thank
see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
I liked Brian when he said it was a little bit ironic, but there's more to a man than coin and status. Courage, honor, loyalty. When he's just about to like crush his best friend. But
Yeah, but he doesn't. Well, oh gosh, yeah, Marta. Yeah,
that's
and
who
he
he's
didn't say
talking
it with
to.
any. Yeah, and he didn't say it with any. It didn't look as if the words he was stuttering over the words. You know what I mean? He said it with his whole chest. And he knows that he's going to crush Martha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason I don't like him, and it's that.
Oh. Yep. I get that.
I don't want anybody messing with Martha, basically.
He's yours.
Anybody who messes
That's
with
clear.
Martha is on the naughty list.
Okay,
You like him
Carmen.
better than Roger? Sorry, I couldn't help it. Okay, this one is funny. So Malcolm says, he comes into the tent and gives his little carved heart to Ellen, and he said, "I wasn't yet so skilled with my hands." I thought
A little bit of a
double
devil
entendre
there.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first thing that came to my mind is, what are you saying, Malcolm?
Malcolm, you little
Yeah,
minx.
So okay. So, give me, I'm better skilled now. Give me a chance and I can show you my level of skill, eh?
That's right. I know he would be a good catch if you were forced to marry him,
He was better than what she could end up with, like poor Jocasta apparently has.
That old
I mean,
coot.
yeah, I mean, he could, if she hadn't met Brian, she might have found him to be a suitable match. You
I
don't
think
know.
that kind of occurs to her. Like, I think she's very touched by him in
Mhm.
many of the scenes. But I loved it when Jocasta said, "I'll also be needing the necklace Ma left you. You can the one. I mean."
Yeah.
Jocasta, you're in no position to offer terms to this deal. I thought that was hilarious. And so sisterly.
Very much so.
Any more?
I mean, hearing you guys talk about the episode, it's
You warming up to it?
maybe. You know what? I'm gonna do? I'm gonna rewatch it
Yeah.
Okay.
with y'all's comments in mind and see if I come away feeling different.
Okay.
I really want to like the show. I really
Yeah.
want to be enthusiastic about it.
I like the line where Ellen says, "Is he as bad as they say, your father?" And Brian says, "Worse." Well, back in Dia, Dragonfly and Amber, when they're heading toward the castle to meet, Jamie and Claire are heading toward the castle to meet Simon Lovett, he tells her he is an awful old monster. So his reputation was pretty well established, and um, he did abduct that lady because her name was not Margaret,
You
but
hear that story?
Amelia. He wanted
yeah.
the daughter, Amelia. He couldn't have her, so he took the mother and he forced her to marry him with a Protestant priest. And then he took her, and she eventually got away, and he married twice after that and never did divorce. So he was just a real
This is
user.
historically
This is
accurate.
historically,
Oh,
well, I
wow.
mean, it's in Wikipedia, the article on him.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
really long article. I didn't read all of it, but
Yeah. But I was
he
just,
was
it's
quite the
not just an
fellow.
Outlander.
No, no, he really
Yeah.
was but that's what Ned was referring to when he said he's abducted and raped a woman, because he forced her into it. She didn't go do it willingly, the mother of Amelia.
But haven't we heard the story before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
We
in the
have.
book. Yeah.
No. Didn't somebody in Outlander, the show, talk about it? Or is it the books? Because I know, I remember hearing the story.
I think it's in the books.
It's in the books.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think Jamie tells Claire the story in the books.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I liked it when they're saying their handfast vows and she says, I give you my spirit till our life shall be done. And he goes, longer. That was really sweet.
That was long. That was.
And I'll just do one more. I didn't like it, but when Lord Levitt said, I've no need of a daughter. Such a pig.
Yeah.
When Malcolm looks at her and says, I cannot believe you're mine. And again, like with Kathy, you just think, well, she's not. But
Yeah.
That's what you think. There's a reason you can't believe that.
Because it ain't true.
Exactly.
And never
she
will
ain't
be.
yours. Okay, let's go to standouts, Carm.
Well, there were I had 5, so I won't say all of them, but I really liked the scene of the women dancing at Craignadoon, and then as they danced through the burning Needfire arches, I thought that was really beautiful and well done. They were much more graceful than Mrs. Barrett or Mrs. Graham and her ladies at the first at the first dancing. These ladies were really graceful and they had some interesting moves, beautiful moves, and they had really pretty faces. And I just thought it was very evocative and beautiful. I think it would be a lovely thing to see in person.
Yeah. I put the whole ensemble. Wow. I'm so impressed with this cast and their acting.
I mean, the
Antoinette.
standouts for me, as I've said before, yeah, are the production values. That's it. They are not stinting on the costuming, the set decorating, the whole production, the production values are top notch. I appreciate that.
Yep. Carm?
Lord Lovett, Tony Curran, he's just so believable in this role. I mean, he's just a sleaze bag. And he's just a sleaze bag. And he deserves to be beheaded, which he was the last person to be beheaded in England. He is
At
the last
Tower
person.
Hill, right?
Yeah, at Tower Hill. That's right. He was the last one, and he deserved it. He just was cunning in a vicious, cruel way. He didn't care about anybody except what they could do for him. User to the
nth degree.
Yeah, nth degree. That's right. A true narcissist.
And Tony
But
is
he's doing a terrific job. Man, I despise him. And that takes a real actor to do that because I know it's acting, but he's really convincing.
Yeah. I'll just say the writing and directing. I'm a fan of this team. I thought they did a great job. I was sucked in. I was on the ride. I wasn't once like, what time is it? Or what am I going to have for dinner? Or any of that stuff. I was just like, and I love that. I love that. That to me it tells me it's like really well done.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm repeating myself in terms of the actress that plays Jocasta and the Martha character. I also like how they are giving us background without giving us background and making them know that they're giving us background. The little snippets of conversation between Ned and Henry, just giving us the background. Oh, okay, yes, that makes sense, and that kind of thing. Very clever. It probably relates back to what you're saying in terms of the writing.
Yeah.
It's not heavy-handed at all. Not heavy-handed at all. Not preachy, not soapboxy. Yeah. They didn't get in the way of the story. Yeah.
The last episode that we did, we skipped 104 to do this one, so we're caught up with everybody. But so 103 was very wordy. It was a good episode, but it was very wordy. And I really appreciated that this one was less wordy. There was more, expressions and movement and, not so wordy, which, yeah.
Well, I thought that the music and lyrics are really quite beautiful.
Mm.
I tend to skip the introduction, and get into the episode, especially if I'm trying to get ready for our discussion. And this time I didn't do that. I watched through it again and really listened to the lyrics and the music, and it's really beautiful. It
Mhm.
really is. Bear's done a wonderful job again in creating the music for this. And it didn't, I think somebody mentioned this earlier, it didn't overwhelm the scenes. It really remained a feature in the background and the underlying thing that made a cohesive contribution to the scene that it was associated with. And I think that takes real skill to do that. So I want to say that the music is and the lyrics where they were present were just wonderful.
Mhm. I think the opening song rivals the Skyboat
Yeah,
opener. I mean, I think it's beautiful.
it really is beautiful. I
And the
agree.
Skyboat song is like iconic. So
Yeah.
the fact that this is right up there, yeah, I mean, maybe because Bear now has 13 more years of experience, just like the rest of the production. So perhaps he's even more nuanced now.
And boy, does he ever have a lot of awards in between there, too.
He deserves all of them.
Yeah, he does.
Um, I liked the cinematography. I liked how this episode was shot. I loved, like I mentioned, the dance scene where he comes around and the lovemaking scene when they showed Brian from below and then her from above. I don't know, there was just a great combination of close ups and movement and then distance. And I thought the cinematography was really well done in
Did
this.
you think it was really beautiful that they were in a ruined chapel?
Yeah,
uh, for that to occur when they hand fasted and express their love for each other. I thought that was a really beautiful touch too.
me too. Yeah, definitely. And when they commented on it before, that this place is enchanted, I think she said, or
It looked enchanted.
it did.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
think I think the costuming was mentioned
Oh,
several times, but the costuming was great. I liked Brian's jacket. God, I like that jacket. I like
Brian's
him in that
everything.
jacket.
Oh my God.
And
Just
Ellen's gown was just one of the most beautiful. It was just beautiful.
and the marriage of the set decorations and the locations and the costumes. It just everything really gelled. I don't know in this episode. I liked it a lot. In case you couldn't tell. Okay, let's go. Let's do big themes, Carmen.
Well, I'll put it in a nutshell. Love forces us to do unthinkable things, and greed allows us to do unthinkable things.
Mm.
By the greed that I'm talking about, it's what's going on with Lord Lovett in Castle Leathers. Um, so, you know, and Ellen, she's taking a terrible risk. She really is. So is Brian, in surrounded by Grant men and Mackenzie men, taking a real risk. But that would be my statement for big themes that I saw.
Yeah, that's good. So mine was that true love is rare and that it takes two. You got to have the lock and key, and we see so much unrequited love in this episode where it's not returned by one person. And one person is just crazy about someone, but it's not returned. And that, you know, click is, and the unrequited version is so painful, so
Mhm.
very painful. So yeah, that's what struck me in this one.
What I came away with is the question of choice. I remember, Ellen talking about she's never had a choice with anything in her life, told where to go, what to wear, who to marry, the whole nine. And when she has an opportunity, she makes what turns out to be a life changing choice, which I thought was beautiful because it, especially in today's world where there is so much erosion of people's autonomy and taking away of people's choices about their life, I thought that her being brave enough after a lifetime of never having any choice to step up and make such a courageous choice. So that's what I came up with.
Yeah.
Very good.
Do you think that I mean, they're handfast and that's big, but do you think she is thinking at this moment, I'm going to run off with him?
Not yet, I don't think.
I know. Well, how is she thinking she's going to reconcile this?
Well, she's going to get pregnant.
Yeah,
So it's
but
going to force a
oh,
reconciliation.
oh,
Well, I mean, she chooses him in her heart, and it's like this choice that she's making to choose him and give herself to him. That is something that she can lock away and keep that part of herself. So even as she moves forward, she thinks, or maybe she thinks into another situation where she'll be married off to the grant, her autonomy and choice is taken away. At least she would have had this.
Yeah.
And that nobody can take that away from
Which
her.
is what Geneva was doing.
right.
Exactly.
And maybe that's why he had tears in his eyes when he saw her with him at the um fire ceremony.
Mhm.
Maybe he was thinking like, that's my wife, I love her, but I can't have her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Stay
think they
tuned, Brian.
Yeah, I don't think they have a solution at this point. I think they're
Yeah.
you know. Ladies, today is my youngest son's 50th birthday. I need to
Okay.
call him.
Oh yeah.
He's on the East Coast and he was working all day and then at a party, so I need to call him. So I need to say goodbye.
Okay.
And love you. Sure.
Okay. Love you.
Bye. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye,
Happy
guys.
birthday to your son.
I always chastise people who hate watch shows because I'm saying if you don't like the show, stop bloody watching it.
But
Don't just
you just
watch
didn't
it.
like this episode. You've liked other episodes, so you're not
Yeah.
that you. I don't think you fall in the hate watch category.
Okay.
And you're complimenting the production, and there's certain
It
things
just
you don't like the
yeah.
main characters.
Well, hopefully I will develop some kind of vibe with them. I wish I could, but I can't manufacture it. If they don't grab me,
Yeah,
they're
that's
never gonna
okay.
grab me.
That is
Yeah.
that I
But I
want
can
you.
still appreciate the good TV.
And you like Murta and Jocasta, and maybe something's gonna happen with them.
Well, let's
Poor
hope so.
Jocasta.
Even though Carmi thinks it's just filler, and she doesn't see where this is gonna take us. It's not driving along the main story. It's just a distraction. But I'm grateful for that distraction because it's keeping me interested.
I know,
So,
and I love that I love that we're not all like, yeah, me too. We all have our own minds and our own opinions and our own. That's why I was like, yay, you didn't like it? Great. It's my favorite episode so far.
okay.
So,
Well, I'm hopeful. I will rewatch this episode with all y'all's comments in mind and see
Okay.
if I come away feeling different. And if I do, I will certainly say that.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
we can touch base about it next week.
Okie dokie. Anyway,
Okay.
love you,
I love
amigo.
you.
Bye. Take
Okay.
care. Give my
Bye.
love to my nephew and
I will.
Queenie.
I will. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.